Welcome everyone to the next Sabbath in our Sabbath series. I'm Innerji, the Metaphysical Crone, and this is...
Hi, I'm Mish from Twisted by Mish.
And here we are at Yule, the winter solstice. Can you believe it?
I know, already. It's crazy how fast this wheel's spinning.
I know, the wheel of the year, it's on fast speed dial. That's what it feels like. But this is a great time of year, I think, with Yule. It's a fun time of year. It's another feast as well. And of course, let's talk about the dates.
Yes.
Yep, because the traditional date is the 21st of June here in the Southern Hemisphere and the 21st of December in the Northern Hemisphere. If you want to go by the astrological date, it will be the 22nd of June. So I use it as an excuse to celebrate for a couple of days, not just one day. How about you?
Yeah. For all the Sabbaths, I kind of do anyway, because I think you've got that building of the energies and then as it goes out the other side as well. So I do the same. I don't necessarily hold it to one day.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that's the whole point about this, is that there are traditions, but there are lots of modern things that have come into the Wheel of the Year. And the Wheel of the Year itself, with the 8 Sabbats, is actually a modern thing. It doesn't go back thousands and thousands of years, whereas the winter, summer solstices do, and the fire festivals, the Celtic fire festivals do, but it's a modern thing to bring them into the 8 Sabbats for the Wheel of the Year. And I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. That's it. So for actual rituals and things like that, I usually use the actual date for honing in on.
Yeah, I prefer that too. Being an astrologer, I like to sort of know when it goes exact in the sky in terms of the movement of the sun, and then I go, right, that's my most strong energy that I can utilize. But there's some interesting myths around Yule, isn't there? I think you wanted to talk about.
Yule was the time is said to be when the Holly King surrenders to the Oak King,
and they battle it out, don't they? Because when I was looking at it, when I was thinking about it, because I used to get them mixed up. Shh, don't tell anybody. I used to get the Oak and the Holly Kings mixed up. And so I always like to go back and double check. Now, the Oak King rules from midwinter to midsummer. So that's the phase we're going into with Yule. And the Holly King goes from midsummer to midwinter. So that's why the Oak King always wins at this time of the year, because we're coming into that winter season.
Yeah.
The dark half of the year.
Yeah, so that's it. So we're at the darkest point.
Yes.
Come winter solstice, we're at the darkest point. So for a lot of us, like, I always think of that as a new beginning, because for every day here on out, they're lighter. The days are lighter. So it's like that fresh start, that new beginning, things that you want to grow. At Yule, it's the time for actually planting that seed and moving forward. Sort of from Samhain, we've already done our shadow work and our dark work, and we're and letting go. I usually do a full moon release, the last full moon before Yule.
Yes.
To get rid of all of that.
And that full moon is the 4th of June, Australian time, if you want to look at that, and it's a full moon in Sagittarius. So this is a full moon of exploration, a little bit of adventure. And adventure doesn't mean going and climbing the nearest mountain. It can be an internal spiritual adventure as well. The other thing I love about this time of year is that it can be a little bit confusing at times, because we're coming into winter, which is the dark half of the year, but it's the return of the Sun King, and the days are getting lighter and longer. And so there's kind of this polarity or juxtaposition that happens, and I find those energies quite interesting to work with. But there are some other great things that can be done at Yule. Traditionally, there was the Yule log.
Yes.
Now, the Yule log came from, it was cut from a tree called the ash tree. And that would be the fire that would be started at Yule. And then once Yule was over and that fire died down to embers, they would keep one piece of the wood and they would relight the Yule fire the following year from that piece of wood. And that gives that feeling of continuity and cycling as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And rebirth
And rebirth, of course, you know, from the ashes.
Yes.
Interesting ash tree as
Yeah.
well.
So some good Australian trees that would be good for
Mm.
that. For your log would be like a mallee root, or a Tasmanian oak, or even ironbark.
Oh,
So
nice.
ironbark isn't a hardwood. Ironbark is one that's special to me,
Yeah.
and in that they grow on the side of mountains.
Oh,
Right, so they grow on the steepest of inclines, and they're really strong and really hardy, and so that symbolize,
yeah.
like that symbolism to me is.
And that would they burn long and slow, do you think?
Yeah, hot.
Oh,
Long and
nice.
hot. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, the Yule log, and of course in modern times we can't always burn a traditional log. So one thing you can do is represent the Yule log with candles, perhaps tea candles, sitting on a log. But you've got to be careful of the fire hazard. Always be careful around obviously open flames. Yeah, and I feel that the candles are a good alternative, a good safe alternative as well. You know, the interesting thing is here in Australia, winter isn't the same around the entire country because Australia is such a huge continent. And so here, whilst we've got the beautiful snow behind us, which is like the traditional feeling of winter, here in Australia, we can have, you know, up the top end of Australia, it's still tropical heat, humidity, going down to the south where, yes, there is snow. So that whole idea of hibernating in winter can be a little bit harder to move into that energy if you live in a really hot climate. And so I usually look at it from the perspective of I'm feeling the hibernation and the winter energy inside of me, as opposed to the spirit of place, what's happening temperature wise and seasonally around me.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, same. Yeah, so I do feel that as well. And I do find that it's hard to, you know, when you think about even your cooking and things like that, like we're still barbecuing here. Like it's cooler, yes, but it's not, you know, not like when I lived in Canberra even, and it's only a couple of hours away.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you wake up and it's frosty every morning.
Yeah.
It's just not the same, you know, it's just not
Yeah,
the same.
I'm still
thing.
eating salads, you know, which is
Yeah.
something you wouldn't want to do in really super cold weather. So, you know, when you're looking at Yule and the winter solstice, and traditionally it's about hibernation, going within, a time of rest and quiet, a time of reflection and meditation, don't think that you can't take in that energy because you are living in a warmer climate.
Yeah,
it's
because
all about
even so, like the sun still is not rising to it as high as normal. You know, I mean, solstice itself is meaning that the sun has paused, or sun is still.
Yeah, and the sun
So,
isn't as strong as it usually is. And so that's, you know, when we think about, you know, plants not growing in winter, but here in Australia, as you know, it's actually a good time for planting seeds and having plants sprout because the sun is less strong and therefore is less burning to new growth. So it's quite, I find it quite fascinating looking at it from all those different perspectives. Now, there's some great Yule correspondences when it comes to here in Australia. There are different correspondences for the Northern Hemisphere, but because we're based in Australia and most of our audience is Australian, we thought we would talk about some of those correspondences. So in terms of animals, animals like the wombat, koala, the possum, the tiny weeny little ant, the dingo, and from birds, the little wren. Really interesting. And the colours, what colours do you see?
The colours, so the colours traditionally is, you know, you've got your green and your red and your white. So green for the abundance and life and growth, and you've got your red for the fire and vitality and passion, and then white where you know, purity and calm and peace. And then also gold, of course, for the sun. There's gold for the sun and celebrating that solar. And then there was also those sun rulers, you know, the rulers of the sun. So as well, that you
Yeah.
honor the gold, and of course, all things rich and wonderful.
Yeah.
come from
And that
gold.
translates into crystals. What crystals do you like to use?
Crystals, obsidian is a big one.
Ta-da!
Yeah, obsidian's a big one. And then like when you're going through the colors, I actually really like red onyx,
Nice.
for that fire feeling, and so red onyx. Then you've got your citrine for the sun.
Absolutely.
And what else do I normally use?
While you're thinking about it, I like you, I like to use obsidian, hence wearing it today. And I also like garnet. I love that rich, dark
garnet.
red.
Yes,
you
definitely.
know?
And because that's, garnets I've always seen as for health.
Yes.
For your health as well.
And
as
base chakra
Yep.
as well.
Yeah,
So
yep.
yeah.
And green aventurine for your green,
Yeah.
for your luck and your abundance and your growth.
Yeah. You can do so much with different crystals for any of the Sabbats, but for this Yule winter solstice, these are some great suggestions, I think. Yeah. What about foods?
Foods, roast, right? I always think of roasted meats.
Yeah.
And then you've got all those foods with the spices, like your fruit cakes and spiced biscuits.
Oh,
and
cinnamon
like
and nutmeg and
I
clove.
like to make little jam and cinnamon stars.
Oh, yum.
And things like, so all those sort of real spicy, fruity flavors.
And also the root
wine.
Oh, mead and mulled wine, yum. Stop it. No, don't. And also the root vegetables like, potatoes and pumpkin. And I know we traditionally associate pumpkin with Samhain and Halloween, but because this is a winter festival and this is when these vegetables are growing and are in season, that is also good as well. Carrots, beautiful carrots. Any of the root vegetables are really, really good.
That's it.
Now, do you use any particular, or do you connect with any particular gods or goddesses at this time, or do you more?
I'm a little bit less of the. I don't tend to have specific deities that I follow or go through. Occasionally, I have had them come through. But no, nothing specific unless it comes to me. So I'm more about like the what I see here, the sun, and really honoring that sun and
I must admit I'm quite similar. I do have one deity that is close to my heart, and that is the Cailleach, the blue-faced hag of Scotland. She is like, if you like, the mother of winter. She brings in winter. This is when she's at her most strong. So if I do use any or work with any deity, it's the Cailleach for me for winter. But like you, I prefer to see what comes to me, if anything, and if not, that's okay as well. And that applies for you too. If you have a particular deity that you like to follow or you like to work with, then bring them in if that's what you're comfortable with. Some people just use the Lord and the Lady if they're into Wicca. So it's a very much a personal choice, isn't it?
Or the green man,
The green man, yeah. But I did look up some gods and goddesses for this particular Sabbat, in case you were interested in researching them or working with them. And we've got Demeter, which I think is Roman or Greek. I can never remember. I always get the Roman and Greek gods and goddesses mixed up. There's also Bridget, which is Celtic, Isis from the Egyptian. We also have Lu, which is the Celtic god, one of the Celtic gods. Odin, who is a Norse god. And of course, the Oak King. Hello, he just won the Battle of the Sun. And Mithras. So that's more of a Middle Eastern one, I think, from memory. So there's so many things that you can choose. Now, the other thing is symbols. What symbols for you equate to Yule?
But the pentagram or the star, most definitely. So that's probably my main one, holly.
Yep.
And then just like your evergreens, the tree, definitely the tree, like because of, you know, paying your respects and honoring the trees at this time of year, especially the evergreens.
And speaking of trees, a little interesting historical trivia fact. Apparently, Yule trees became popular in the Victorian era because Queen Victoria decided that she would opulently decorate a Yule tree openly, not hidden in the closet, but openly. And so the Yule tree became popular. And today it is the modern Christmas tree. And there are so many correlations between Yule and what we celebrate as Christmas time as well. There are so many ancient or traditional rituals, Sabbats, etc., that have been built upon and layered through with Christianity and other belief systems. So here in Australia, there's a tradition to do a Christmas in July. So I'm going to suggest move it forward to the 21st of June.
Yeah,
or 22nd of June.
That's it. Don't do Christmas, do Yule.
Yeah, don't do Christmas, do Yule? Unless you want to do both. There's a great excuse to keep celebrating, isn't there? Well, look, we hope you've enjoyed this little chat about Yule and the winter solstice. What we're going to do now is turn the camera around and let's do an intentions reading for this particular Yule Sabbath.
Okay, so we're just shuffling our cards, getting ready, and we are going to ask, what joy can we bring in this Yule season?
Oh, nice. I like that. All right, so let's lay out the first three cards. We have the Four of Pentacles. We have the Seven of Swords reversed. And the third card is the Queen of Cups reversed. I'm going to add some tea coins to that, so get ready for the jingle jangle. And we have the butterfly. We have the chair. And we have the man. All right, so what I'm seeing here is with this Four of Pentacles, I feel like for this Yule, it's about don't hold back. This is a card of holding back, keeping to yourself. You can see, I'll just use my obsidian as a pointer. You can see how he's kind of hiding his heart, even hiding half of his face with that pentacle. He's in a space of protection. But for this Yule period, it's about opening up and transforming. As Mish said a little bit earlier in the video, we can kind of look at this period as a rebirth with the return of the sun. So in terms of bringing more joy in, opening up your heart and being open to new changes, new transitions in your life. The second card we have is the Seven of Swords reversed. I'm going to show you this card upright first. And this is a card where someone is worried that things will be taken away from them. You can see he's hoarding these swords here, and he's got one in his hand, and there's another one down here that he's missed. So when I see this card reversed, this is about generosity. This is about giving. And you can see the theme starting to build. We also have the chair here, and it is about being comfortable with giving and receiving. Most of the time, we're more comfortable giving, less comfortable about receiving. We can get a little bit embarrassed at times, I find. So get comfortable with the receiving part because the card is reversed. Be open to receiving as well as giving in terms of peace, love, harmony, connecting with loved ones and family. The third card we have is the Queen of Cups reversed, and we have the tea coin for the male or the masculine energy. Now, the Queen of Cups reversed, again, it's saying open up your heart. You know, when she's reversed, she's kind of holding her emotions back. She's not going with the free flow of how she's feeling. And this masculine energy is very proactive. It's very out there. So I feel like there's going to be a push-pull between how much you give and how much you receive. I feel emotionally, it's about opening up to those around you that you trust, to bring in the joy, sometimes to be vulnerable, to bring in the good things, the positive things, the harmonious things, the love. Being vulnerable is one way to do it. But with this masculine T coin, it's also about you putting yourself out there at the same time. So the overall message from these 3 cards is the balance between giving and receiving during this time of Yule, this winter solstice. And let's face it, the winter solstice is about moving towards the light, moving away from the darker elements. Mish, what do you have with your layout?
All right, let's see.
And you're using the beautiful Season of the Witch.
Yes, I thought I would use the Yule Oracle today.
And in case people are wondering, this deck is called Tarot of the Abyss.
Okay, so we've got offerings, wreath, and Mother Mary. Okay, now I'm going to get some moons out, lay on top of these. We've got the Star, the Woman, and Romance. Okay, so going with the first card here, offerings, and bringing in that joy. It's what you can offer for yourself. What have you got to offer? What have you got that you can give to others? You know, it's that sharing of your light and sharing of your abundance. What, you know, if you've got a heap of things growing in your garden, it's about sharing that. And the Star is about your wishes and your dreams and all things positive. So, and again, that light, sharing of that light of yours. And the wreath is the circle symbol. You know, it's about you know, what we give out comes back. It's about the rebirth and like similar to yours with the transformation. You know, it's about that everything does go sort of full circle. And so it's honoring that and knowing that in yourself. And with the woman rune there as well, it's about nurturing, so being kind to yourself and really, I get a real feeling with this card. It's that real sort of mothering energy, that just that nurturing feeling and that loving and looking after others. And then we've got Mother Mary, and you can see she sort of seems to me like she's standing there wise. Mother Mary, as in the Mother Mary, I don't know a lot on, but I see her as like a wise woman and taking advice from someone who is wise, you know, beyond you. And romance, you know, the things that you're passionate about, and so really sort of sharing. So I get a real feeling of overall for this Yule season is to share joy. It's like sharing yourself, sharing what you know, sharing what you've learned, and like throughout the rest of the year, and just sharing with others. So finding your community and just being generous and sharing in general, like find them and share a meal with them, and you know, things like that. I think that's really gonna help you with your own eternal light and have that full circle going around.
What I love about, again, our readings sort of like just a synchronicity embodied. They really are, because the 3 cards that I have are about not holding back, about giving and receiving. And then your 3 cards are about what can you put out there for you as well. So my cards are about, the message is don't hold back. And then the message for the top 3 cards is yes,
putting
give,
it out there, giving.
Yeah, it's really good.
It. And that real nurturing, you know, with your offerings and with the woman rune and the Mother Mary, you know, that real sort of nurturing energy of looking after others, getting out there. I think we can quite often shut ourselves off a little bit. So yeah, just maybe get out there and, I don't know, do some charity work or do something something that's going to help others.
Yes.
And in turn, that's going to bring joy to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's do an oracle card, as we are bent to do when we do these readings for the Sabbats. So what do we have? This is from the Wild Woman Oracle. And the card I have is called Voice of the Outcasts, and it's all about advocacy, and that blends in beautifully to what you're saying, Mish, about maybe going out and doing some charity work, volunteering, helping those and sharing the love, the peace, the harmony with people who might not be as well off as you are. And this is advocating for them. You know, there are so many people when we look at normal Christmas time who are alone, who don't have that family structure around them, who don't have that community around them. And so the voice of the outcast is saying that you can be a voice for these people by being there with them, by doing some voluntary work around this period of Yule, which is about celebration, peace, harmony, community. So I think that was a very appropriate card to come out. What do you have, Mish?
So I'm going to use Ginny Eagle's Oracle.
Oh, I love her cards.